Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I wanted to speak in this debate, not least because I sat on the panel for this report as a member of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Cycling, but also because I'm a cyclist myself. And cycling is booming in the Colne and Home Valleys and in Lindley, in my parliamentary constituency, not least because of the amazing spectacle which was the Tour de France in Yorkshire, and of course it was in Cambridge as well. On a sunny Sunday in July, the world's eyes were on Chris Froome and the peloton as they whizzed down into Huddersfield from Ainley Top. They glided through the Home Valley before tackling the gruelling climb up Home Moss. And it was at the foot of that climb that my family watched the race outside my mum and dad's house. Now, the Le Tour legacy is clear to see. My local Kirklees Council have calculated £10 has been generated in economic benefits for every pound invested. But it's this cycling legacy that I'm going to focus on. Holmfirth Cycling Club was set up shortly before the Tour. It now has 259 members, and a third of them are women. It's the fastest growing club in the UK, and it signed up more junior members than any other club during the Tour de France. Yes, I'll give way.
I thank the honourable gentleman for giving way and point out that this sort of enthusiasm for cycling is being generated also by other sporting clubs. In Beckenham, the Beckenham Rugby Club now has the Beckenham Rugby Cyclists. That's brilliant, and let's keep encouraging that sort of thing.
I absolutely agree with my honourable friend. Cycling is a great way to see our beautiful countryside and a great way to keep fit. So maybe it's a bit of alternative training for those rugby players. The Holmfirth Cycling Club offers weekly mountain bike rides, midweek rides, and once a month there is a long weekend ride. There are also training sessions for young riders and adult cyclocross training. Streetbikes in Lockwood, led by the inspirational Jill Greaves, works with schools and community groups, teaching adults and children how to cycle. They also fix unwanted bikes, and then they donate them back into the community. Their projects are growing week on week. There are regularly 50 people who turn up to rock up and ride events, and they had 80 people last week at a mixed ability session last Thursday. Yes, I'll give way to the honourable gentleman.
I appreciate the honourable gentleman giving way, and I also appreciate what's happening in his constituency and outside it regarding the encouragement of cycling. But coming back to the clubs, can he give us any idea what the clubs would charge? Is it free or is there a charge levied?
I'm going to go on to that side of things. The Holmfirth Cycling Club, for example, is affiliated to British Cycling, so you join British Cycling and then you're covered by all the insurances that they provide there as well. And it's very, very good value. I think it's about £20 for the year, so it's not a huge amount for a whole year of cycling activities. And Streetbikes, which I'm talking about now, is a local charity with local companies donating bikes, local people, and they refurbish those bikes. And as I'll be going on to say, they give them for free to people from low incomes in our community, which is a great scheme. And at the Streetbikes Cycling Festival in August, 40 free recycled and refurbished bikes were given away, and Streetbikes offer repairs and advice to riders. There are 11 cycling organisations across Kirklees, including Streetbikes and other community groups. They offer various disciplines, such as BMX, mountain bike, track cycling, cyclocross, time trials, and many more. And in my part of the world, we're now looking forward to the Tour of Yorkshire on the 1st to the 3rd of May 2015. Now, the routes will be announced in early 2015, but we hope they'll be gracing my patch once again. The event is being organised by Welcome to Yorkshire and the Amori Sport Organisation. They're the organisers of the Tour de France, and it'll be backed by British Cycling. There will be 3 full stages over the 3 days, a women's race and a mass participation event. This has all inspired cyclists of all ages and abilities to get out on their bikes. And the legacy continues. I'd like to congratulate Huddersfield New College student Gabs Culler on being selected to represent GB at the recent World Championships in the junior road race squad. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, because of this enthusiasm for cycling, this is why I'm backing the recommendations of the Get Britain Cycling report and urging further action not only from the government but also from local councils and local communities. Looking specifically at the recommendations, we do need to redesign our roads and streets. Anyone like I have, who has tackled the chipping-laden road from Lockwood to Honley, where I live, will now see the urgent need for a proper cycle lane. I love cycling on the Meltham Greenway, which is on a disused railway line, and we need more of this shared space. Therefore, cyclists' and pedestrians' needs must be considered during planning applications. Cycling needs to be safe, and speed is often the culprit of that danger. We need to extend 20-mile-an-hour speed limits in towns and villages and look at limits on rural lanes. And good HGV cab design, giving drivers better sight lines, are an absolute must. I've already mentioned street bikes, so let's give them funding for training and education at all primary and secondary schools in my area and other free training. It's a healthy activity and it's good for our environment. But good progress is being made in this area. As of autumn last year, 94% of primary schools in Yorkshire had bikeability training sessions and a fifth of secondary schools. But let's push that further forward. Gary Verity has become an inspirational figure in Yorkshire after superb leadership in bidding for and running the successful Tour de France in Yorkshire. So let's have the national cycling champion and let's ask local councils to appoint a lead figure so that we know who to go to. It doesn't necessarily have to be a politician, but someone locally who's responsible for all local cycling. And funding, yes, let's spend at least £10 per head of the population in funding for cycling. But on that note, I do acknowledge that the Department for Transport has made significant investment into cycling, spending almost double that spent in the last 5 years of the previous administration. Nearly all of the projects being funded by the DfT's £600 million local sustainable transport fund now contain a cycling element. And the Bikeability Cycle Training Grant provides further funding of up to £40 per child training place, training a minimum of 600,000 children a year. And I particularly welcome the Prime Minister's announcement that funding will be extended into 2015-2016. And in the life of this Parliament, £374 million of government funds have already been committed directly towards cycling. But I want more. Yes, I'll give way to the honourable gentleman.
Extremely grateful to my honourable friend for giving way. He's talking about the government's investment in cycling. Would he also agree with me that the situation as far as potholes is concerned is very concerning with cycling, and the government having put a lot of funds into improving our roads, including £200 million in the last budget, is a good thing, but we always need more to reduce potholes and make cycling safer?
Yes, my honourable friend makes a great point on potholes. Potholes are the scourge of cyclists, and one of the benefits of the Tour de France coming through my neck of the woods was a beautiful black tarmac carpet leading up into the hills. And Madam Deputy Speaker, constituents regularly asked me, what is the exact route, Mr McCartney, of the Tour de France? And I just said, follow the new tarmac. But certainly filling in potholes is a really important thing that we can be doing. I think my Kirklees Council got over £1.2 million in the local pothole fund, and I know how much that is appreciated. And finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, on a very serious note here, I'd just like to end by passing on my best wishes to my constituent John Radford and his family. On the 29th of July last year, John was an extremely fit and active husband, father and grandfather, and he had just returned from taking part in a 1,400-kilometre cycle event. 2 days later, he was hit by a car in New Mill. John suffered severe head injuries, leaving him in a coma. He was discharged from Leeds General Infirmary into a special neurological respite centre in York. John is now very severely disabled. He's confined to a wheelchair and totally dependent on others, and will remain so for the rest of his life. I've got to know the family very well indeed, and his family are now looking for a home for him for specialist nursing care. A court case is now scheduled to begin at Leeds Crown Court on Monday the 20th of October, next Monday. Madam Deputy Speaker, in honour of John Radford, I say, let's get Britain cycling.